Namaste and welcome to the channel. I'm truly excited to have you here today as we dive deep into one of the most powerful and transformative framework in the cybersecurity world, the MITRE ATT&CK framework. Whether you are a student eager to learn, a cybersecurity professional strengthening your skills, a risk or compliance leader aligning security with strategy, or simply someone with a passion for how threats are identified and addressed, this video is crafted just for you. In today's fast evolving digital environment, understanding how adversaries operate is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. The MITRE ATT&CK framework gives us that visibility, mapping out real world adversarial tactics, techniques, and procedures based on actual threat intelligence. This isn't just theory, this is the bridge between intelligence and action, between security teams and business outcome. Together, we'll explore how MITRE ATT&CK helps organizations detect threats earlier, respond faster, and build a resilient security posture. We'll also look at how it integrates with other framework like NIST CSF, ISO 27001, MITRE Engage, and D3 Fend. So, whether you're watching this to gain clarity, discover practical application, or guide your organization threat detection strategy, stay tuned. Take note and let's make cyber security smarter, stronger, and more proactive. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you find this valuable. Drop your questions in the comments below. Let's learn and grow together. Now, let's begin our journey into the world of MITRE ATT&CK. Welcome. This is your host, Savit Vittal Salian. In the evolving landscape of cybersecurity, adversaries are becoming increasingly sophisticated, leveraging new tools, tactics, and procedures to bypass traditional defenses. Organizations, in turn, require robust, intelligence driven methodology to detect, respond to, and mitigate these threats. The MITRE ATT&CK framework, adversarial tactic, technique, and common knowledge, has emerged as a comprehensive knowledge base that documents the behaviors and strategies used by adversaries across the threat lifecycle. Developed and maintained by MITRE Corporation, attack has become an essential component in the toolkit of cyber security professionals, threat analysts, red teams, and incident response teams. This video provides an in depth examination of the MITRE ATT&CK framework, exploring its origin, structure, use cases, benefits, limitations, and future directions. By dwelling into the specifics of the attacks and its relevance in today's cyber security ecosystem, this video underscores the framework's importance as a global standard for cyber threat modeling and defense. Let's take a top view of this framework. The purpose and objective is to create a knowledge base of adversaries' tactics, technique, and procedure. In short, it's also known as TTPs. Basically, it is about showing how the attackers operate, shows it documents. From a scope perspective, it is more operational and tactical. The primary focus is about threat behavior and detection, learning about it, about tactical intelligence on the adversary's behavior. It's basically observation, understand how adversary moves around. Approach is empirical and behavior driven. Its usage is in detection, detection engineering in specific, in red teaming, in creating the threat intel. It has interoperability between CSF functions, often mapped, very specific under the detect section. It has very high granularity, very specific technique based observation and documentation. Its structure is basically Observe the tactics, the techniques used, and the procedures. Primarily used by threat hunters, the SOC teams, the red and blue teams. Yes, it has its limitation. It assumes attacks follows in a sequential order when it articulates itself. Having said that, it's still open for any specific change in patterns. So it is flexible, but also once documented, it also can be a limitation if the threat actor changes its direction of approach. It acts as a complementary tool and its relationship with other framework. Generally, it aligns to the D3 Fend, MITRE Engage, and it definitely complements the CSF. The intention behind this slide is specifically to give you a top view and give you a perspective on the coming aspect of video. We'll go through these in detail to help you get a perspective. Let's now look at the origin and evaluation of the MITRE attack. The MITRE Corporation is a not-for-profit organization that operates federally funded research and development centers in the US. It supports government agencies in solving complex problems, especially in defense, aviation, healthcare, and cybersecurity. Attack was born out of MITRE's research initiatives aimed at understanding the adversary's behavior within a controlled environment. MITRE attack was initiated in 2013 as part of an internal research project called Fortress to understand adversaries' post compromise behavior in a simulated enterprise network. Do note, it is to understand the behavior of an adversary. The result was a curated, openly accessible matrix of tactics and techniques adversaries use after they gained initial access to a system. Do note, the focus here is to understand what an adversary is doing post he is able to break into the system. What is his modus operandi, his technique, his behavior, his pattern of approach to gain the benefit that he is intending to take post the break in. Since then, attack has grown into a widely adapted framework encompassing enterprise attack, which focuses on the Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, mobile attack, which is about Android and iOS, pre attack, this pre compromise activities now depreciated at this point, but it had its play. ICS attack, which is industrial control system focused. Structure of the MITRE attack framework. First is tactics. Tactics represents the why of an attack technique, essentially the adversary's goal during an attack. Example include initial access, execution, distance, privilege escalation, defense evasion, credential access, discovery, lateral movement, collection, exfiltration, impact. The next is techniques and sub-techniques. Techniques represent the how, the specific means by which adversaries achieve a tactical objective. Sub-techniques further refines this. For example, credential dumping, the LSA's memory, which is a sub-technique, the DC sync, which is also a sub-technique. The next is procedures. Procedures provide real-world example of how threat actors implement a technique. They are derived from threat intelligence report and incident analysis. The mitigation aspects are specific security practices or configuration that help reduce or prevent the success of adversarial techniques. The detection include recommended analytics, log sources, and monitoring approach to identify the use of a particular technique. Let's now look at attack in practice. Attack provides a structured language for describing adversary behavior, which enhances the value of threat intelligence report. Security analysts can map indicator of compromise and TTPs to attack to develop threat profiles and share intelligence more effectively. Red teams use attack to emulate real world threats, thereby testing an organization's detection and response capabilities. Tools like MITRE Caldera and Attack Navigator enable adversary emulation with attack mapping. Security Operations Center or SOCs and blue teams leverage attack to develop and refine detection rules in SIMs and their EDR platforms. Mapping logs and alerts to attack technique enables detection coverage analysis. Organizations can perform attack based assessment to identify gaps in their security postures. By comparing existing controls to the mitigations recommended in attack, organization can improve their defense in depth strategy. During and after a security incident, analysts use attack to reconstruct the attacker's path and their actions. Mapping the kill chain helps in understanding attack progression and containment strategies. Let's now look at attack matrices. This is one of the most comprehensive metrics covering tactics and techniques for post compromise behavior across Windows, Linux, and Mac OS environment. That's your enterprise attack. From a mobile attack perspective, this is designed for mobile threats. This matrix documents behavior specific to Android and iOS platforms, which includes network abuse, app permission misuse, and mobile data exfiltration. The third is the ICS attack. This covers TTPs used in industrial control systems such as the programmable logic controllers and SCADA environment. These are critical in sectors like energy, manufacturing, and water utilities. Let's now look at the aspect of integration with the security ecosystem. Many vendors integrate attack mappings into their platforms, allowing for attack based correlation rules, dashboards, and automated responses. Platforms like MISPs and Threat Connect allow for structured data ingestion and sharing across attack techniques, thus improving their consistency and reuse. Attack complements frameworks such as NIST CSF, ISO 27001, MITRE Engage, and D3 Fend. Let's take a snapshot on the benefits of MITRE Attack. Attack is publicly available and supported by a global community of contributors, ensuring continual updates and relevance. This is open system and community driven. It provides a common language for cybersecurity professionals to discuss threats, conduct assessment, and implement mitigations. Tag enables proactive detection through hypothesis driven hunting. Analysts can focus on specific behaviors rather than waiting for an alert. By mapping techniques to mitigation and detection, organization can better align their defenses with known adversary behaviors. Attack helps organization assess maturity and coverage. It's often used in conjugation with tools like Attack Navigator to visualize strengths and weaknesses. Let's now look at the challenges and limitations. Organization may focus too much on covering the attack techniques without a context, leading to inefficient resource allocation. This is seen in many of framework implementation, not just attack, wherein we are too focused on the points and the bullet points and the sub points that we lose the context and the big picture on why you are doing it in the first place. What's the objective? You will have a lot of SMEs, so called SMEs, would have a checklist printed in but would not know the bigger picture or not that interested. You'll have similar challenges if the context is not understood. Understanding and applying attack effectively requires a deep knowledge of adversary behavior, detection engineering, and organization's technical environment. This is where the challenge would be for any organization. An organization with skills and experience long enough to have seen attacks and patterns would be able to take the maximum benefit. Hence, when you are building a team which is entrusted with mapping out the attack framework, you have to nominate the most senior in the space who would have seen it and done it rather than a newbie, because then the context might just be lost. Hence, the management need to be conscious of this aspect. The effectiveness of attack hinges on log availability, data quality, and telemetry area where many organizations struggle. This creates a foundational requirement. If the logs are not in place or the right logs are not enabled, navigating would be a challenge, or rather, you would reach a dead end. Hence, these are foundational aspects before you even enter this territory. Attack is retrospective. While based on known adversary behavior, it may not capture the latest zero-day techniques immediately. Hence, it's a 0 day. No one knows how it unfolds. But when it does, having a structure in place helps us to review quickly, create the framework, and then run it across the system so that any damages are contained in future. Let's look at a top view on some real world case studies. The APT 29, or known as Cozy Bear, was a state sponsored group that used techniques such as spear phishing, attachment, and credential dumping. Security teams mapped the intrusion to attack, to guide detection and the response. Second is the SolarWinds Orion breach used techniques like signed binary proxy execution and command and scripting interpreter. Organizations use attack to study the attacker's path and assess the gaps, which help them to fix or limit the attack and make changes so that future attacks can be deterred. In the Fin7 case, this was a financially motivated threat actor employed remote access tool, persistent mechanism, and data collection techniques. Attack helped organizations improve the endpoint monitoring and threat modeling, thus arresting the impact. Let's now look at some of the tools and the resources. The Attack Navigator. It's a visualization tool to layer the attack techniques for specific threat groups, assessments, and coverage mapping. Caldera, it's an open source adversary emulation platform that uses attack techniques for automated red teaming and blue team training. The MITRE Center for Threat Informed Defense, it's a MITRE affiliated entity, works on improving attack use cases like security metrics and attack flow modeling. From a future perspective, AI driven analytics will increasingly use attack to train detection model and enrich alert classification. As enterprises move to cloud environment, attacks coverage of platforms like Microsoft 365, Azure, and AWS will continue to grow. There is increasing alignment between attack and other cyber security standards, enabling automated compliance and threat mapping. Frameworks like MITRE D3 Fend and Engage will work in tandem with attack to provide end-to-end coverages from threat modeling to active defense. So that's the shift that we are seeing even now, and it will continue to enrich. Let's now look at the comparative analysis of the MITRE attack framework against NIST CSF, ISO 27001, MITRE Engage, MITRE D3 Fend, and similar cybersecurity framework and models. This comparison outlines their objectives, scope, use cases, and interoperability, offering a clear view of their synergies and differences in the cyber defense landscape. Let's look at the comparative analysis of the MITRE attack framework against NIST, CSF, ISO 27001, MITRE Engage, MITRE D3 Fend, and similar such cybersecurity framework and models. This comparison outlines their objectives, scope, use cases, and interoperability, offering a clear view of their synergies and differences in the cyber defense landscape. Let's now look at a comparative analysis of MITRE attacks with other cybersecurity frameworks. To start with, let's look at the purpose and the objective of each of the framework in comparison. The MITRE attack is a knowledge base of adversary tactics. So basically, the very specific is how an adversary behaves, conducts itself once it has broken into the system. The MITRE attack documents it, creates a knowledge base to be used for strategy on how to block it or put controls in the place so that such attacks or similar attacks do not occur. In case it is occurring, not able to breach. So it's creating a knowledge base. The NIST CSF purpose and objective, it's actually a framework for improving cybersecurity infrastructure. Framework for cybersecurity. ISO 27001, it's a standard for ISMS. Standard is the keyword. MITRE Engage is a framework for managing adversary engagement and deception. So when an adversary is hitting infra, how do you manage it? How do you create a deception? Is what MITRE Engage is about. To observe the difference between attack and engage. Attack is articulating, observing and articulating in preparation for blocking it in the future. So the knowledge attained to attack will be used for future engagement or how to manage them. MITRE D3 Fend is about countermeasures, defensive knowledge graph for cybersecurity. So difference between different MITRE part is attack is knowledge base, engage is a framework for managing adversary engagement and deception, defend is countermeasures. Cyber kill chain is a model for describing the different stages of cyber attack. It is a model defining, describing the stages of cyber attack. NIST SP 853 is a security and privacy control. Audit 2019 is a framework. Pause the screen, absorb what is written in the purpose section. That should help you in your clarity. Let's now look at the primary focus across the framework and the models. MITRE attack, it's about behavior, observing the behavior, threat behaviors and detection. So keyword is behavior. NIST CSF is about strategy. ISO 27001 is about management and governance. MITRE Engage is about engagement and deception, creating deception. MITRE Defend is in defensive techniques and controls. The word is defensive. Kill chain is about life cycle. NIST 853, it's about controls. Audit, it's about governance and management. Now, just for an observation for people who are preparing for any form of test or exams as such, remember the attack is, it's not about stopping an attack, it is about observing the attack. The MITRE attack is observing, recording. MITRE Engage, the word engage, clear indicator, it's about engagement. And remember, deception, engagement and deception. Engage comes is embedded within the word MITRE Engage. MITRE Defend, D3 Fend, so automatically you can map it out to as defensive. Kill chain, which is chain, so it's a, you can associate kill chain as with life cycle. Audit is something which is straightforward. You have been engaged with potentially with COVID for a very long period. It's about governance and management. This helps students, new joiners for this subject, any management team who is not having clarity about comparison between each other, so this can be useful for them. Let's now look at the structures. MITRE works on tactics, techniques and procedures, or the known as TTPs. NIST is identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. That's how the flow works. That's how the structure is. ISO 27000 standard has its structure accordingly: context, leadership, planning, support, operation, improvement. MITRE engage. Again, it has the goal: engage, collect, and analyze. Do note, MITRE engage works with MITRE attack. MITRE defend works with engage and attack. Is the defensive techniques aligned with attack. So MITRE complements each other and also works with other frameworks. The cyber kill chain, it's about doing the recon, weaponize, delivery, exploit, install, C2 actions. NIST, it's about the 20 control families. COBIT, the governance and management focused, has hence evaluate, direct and monitor, align, plan and organize. From key user perspective, threat hunters are the one who are for MITRE attack primary consumers. They use this as a model. IT risk manager rely on this CSF primarily. Compliance team with ISO 27001. Deception engineers align themselves with MITRE Engage. Security engineers align themselves better with MITRE Defend. The red teamers, the defenders, the strategists, basically the red team and its breed, align themselves with the cyber kill chain framework. Auditors love NIST SP 853, generally they take this as a reference, and CIO prefer COVID 2019 when they are doing their part of the governance and management. Now, if you want to complete the story, which are the relationship and the tools that each other are engaging themselves with? MITRE aligns with D3 Fend, MITRE Engage, and complements the CSF. TIST maps to attack and ISO 27001, COBIT. ISO aligns themselves with the NIST CSF and can include attack data. MITRE engages with attack. The defend alliances with attack. Cyber kill chain aligns itself with attack. Similarly, the NIST also. If you see, the role of MITRE attack is across the framework. So all of them require the knowledge base, the quality of the knowledge base, the depth of the knowledge base which MITRE attack helps create, so that other frameworks can leverage that knowledge to be more effective and efficient. While we looked at the summary, let us look at the specific comparison between attack and NIST CF. We already seen this as part of the earlier team. You can pause this video and get the highlighted points. While you are looking at it, attack can enhance the detect and response categories of CSF, one which helps us to understand how frameworks engage, complement. So attack, because that's the focus of this video. As we understood till now, it's all about observing, detecting, and responding with a strategy, with a plan, with specific actions that future such cases can avoid it. The next is the MITRE attack versus ISO 27001. Attack in this case can be used to justify the technical controls of ISO 27001. That's one big piece which can be used as reference. So anyone who is already having ISO 27000 implemented, they can use attack to complement their implementation. Similarly, between attack and engage, you can see attack can use it to understand the adversary tactics, which we know by now, and then engage to deceive or delay them. That's the objective of the whole framework. Look at the structure of attack, tactics, techniques. Three is about goals, specific goals, how to engage and how to collect. The collection part is all about gathering the whole information and then using it. We have a similar engagement trigger. From a attack and D3 fend perspective, attack shows how the attacker operates. D3 fend shows how to stop them. One is observing and other is stopping. Now these can also be used to complement or enhance your existing frameworks. Just need that maturity and the team members at a senior level who understands the whole context. So MITRE attack and cyber kill chain, if you look at it, you can use kill chain for strategic view, attack for operational response. Look at the limitation aspect. We discussed earlier, it assumes attack flows in a sequential order. While it's a fact at that given point of time, and mostly they follow certain steps as such because that's the easiest path first. But also it can be deceptive in cases the attacker is smart or knows how to navigate it can change the pattern. Such cases, well, attack can still work, but they'll have to revisit, look at it again, and recalibrate it. Challenge with the cyber kill chain is not cover post exploitation phase. Let's now look at the interoperability and integrations. Integrated use case is SOC playbook deployment. NIST CSF provides the structure, attack provides a technical guidance, defend suggests the defense of it. From an audit readiness perspective, ISO 27000 outline the governance, attack maps real world threat to validate control effectiveness. The control effectiveness part of process can leverage the attack framework from a red and blue team perspective. Attack used for red team planning, defend and engage supports the blue team defensive strategy. So the red team's primary go to framework would be attack, and the blue teams is of course defend and engage. From a threat intelligence and sharing perspective, attack used for attackers TTPs, engage for deception, while the NIST CSF for risk communication. Cybersecurity architecture and control mapping perspective, defend and SP 800 is used for mapping attack techniques to architectural defenses. Let's look at the strength and optimal usage. MITRE, which we understand by now, it's all about behavior and detection used by the red team. Best use for detection and adversary emulation. Once you understand how an adversary is behaving, you can strategize how your responses would be. The NIST CSF is about governance. Best use is by the controls team using the control framework of NIST. ISO 27000 is about compliance and more used, best use in fact, for getting certified. You have organizations listing that they are ISO 27000 certified. When you see that, it is indication that the framework is for compliance. You are in compliance against a particular framework. MITRE Engage is about deception and best used by the experts within your organization from cybersecurity for deception planning. How do you divert? How do you navigate an adversary to some other place other than the most critical one? One of the cases you can use. MITRE Defend about defensive technique and mapping used best used by the blue team, while the red team focuses on the behavior and the blue team also focuses on the behavior using the MITRE attack. The blue team specifically can take the help of MITRE Defend in their strategy. The kill chain perspective, it's about life cycle, understanding the attacker's life cycle, and it's about detection. So kill chain complements certain aspects of MITRE attack on detection aspect. Let's now look at some real world inspired case studies illustrating how organizations have successfully integrated MITRE attack, NIST CSF, ISO 27001, MITRE Engage, and E3 Fend to strengthen their cyber security posture, improve their resilience, and align with compliance and governance objective. Case 1. In this case, situation is a bank face the rising threat of sophisticated phishing campaign and credential theft targeting their specific platform. Solution: the organization aligned their detect and respond part, which is primarily aligned to the NIST CSF function, with their MITRE attack technique. They mapped the incident tactics like how the initial access worked, specifically the spear phishing and the credential access. They reviewed it, and by now we know what MITRE attack is all about. They observed, they documented, and they implemented behavioral detection for key technique using SIEM and EDR platforms. They looked at their gaps, their analysis, and their response procedures. They modified it accordingly, tuned it, and fortified their NIST CSF recovery and response function, resulting in reduction in their incidents and improvement in their response time. This integration helps the SOC process and regulatory requirement. So this is a theoretical case study about how MITRE attack can be used to your current framework, or you can design your new to this field, or start looking at starting this area, the organization, how you can get the benefit of different framework work for you. The second case study in this case is the healthcare provider. Its primary objective is to secure sensitive patient data. They have ISO 27000 already in place, so they wanted to secure, so hence they used the MITRE T3 So they have policies in place across their access management, incident management, asset management, and its security. What they did is they mapped the controls of ISO to with three different defensive techniques, included network segmentation, detonation chambers, and dynamic analysis. They cross-mapped the techniques to the ISO 27002 and NIST 853 to ensure multi-layered defense. Doing so, it helped them to ensure that they are certified and they don't have any breaches protecting the sensitive information that they have. It also helped to improve board visibility and stakeholder confidence in their risk reduction strategy, maintaining their reputation. The next case study in this case is about ample government provider provides energy, and they suspected there are groups targeting their SCADA network, and intrusions were observed. So they used the MITRE attack to identify the behavior, which is this hallmark for MITRE attack. They identified known groups like APT33. Using the behavior, what they have understood and articulated, they implemented the MITRE Engage to design a adversary engagement environment. So they learned through attack, designed through engage, set up honeypots, deception triggers, or techniques such as command and control. They engaged the red team who used to simulate and study the behavior learned from the attack and had a proactive defense refinement done. The outcome, they were able to remove all the footholds of the group, and it was done without any operational disruptions. They also used all the information and knowledge that they gained through the attack and engage to create a playbook, reducing their time to detect big time. And of course, because of this, there was a lot of improvement in their standing, the regulators, and of course, they were able to serve the energy requirement of the supporting. So that's how MITRE attack, MITRE engage helps when combined together. The next case study is about a SaaS provider who required a unified cybersecurity framework, primarily to build in the customer trust and also have a sophisticated threat detection mechanism in place and possibly pass out audits. They used NIST CSF, MITRE attack, they defend, and ISO 27001 in a mix, integrated all together. The NIST was used to define the high level governance, MITRE attack to define adversary detection, defend to establish compensating control, and all of this integrated through ISO 27000 for documentation, audit, and reporting alignment. This helped them to achieve their initial objective, helped them to reduce the false positives, and overall helped them to demonstrate to client an advanced and standard aligned security posture, proving their business. The next case study is about a telecom company expanding and needed a unified cybersecurity and compliance strategy, touching GDPR and local regulations. Hence, they adopted NIST CSF as an umbrella framework, used MITRE attack for detection capability for the SOC, used CSF to detect respond function in combination with ISO 27001, used MITRE D3 to select targeted technical defenses for their mobile infrastructure. Overall, they achieved consistent security maturity and were able to use that to detect any attempts. It helped them to reduce the control overlap and improve their efficiency through a harmonized framework alignment. From a framework mapping perspective, MITRE attack are generally mapped with NIST CSF detect and respond, ISO 27001, NIST, and so on. MITRE defend, ISO 27001, NIST SP 800, CS control. Engage is about as a common mapping with MITRE ATT&CK, cyber deception engineering control, risk informed active defense. NIST CSF is about high level governance with ISO 27001 generally mapped and can embed attack for operational depth. From an ISO 27001 perspective, it is generally mapped to NIST CSF, D3 FEND for technical defense mapping, and attack for incident linkage. So this is how this different family of framework come together to bring in value to the organization. So any SME tasked with implementing a comprehensive framework for your organization with efficiency and waste, with reducing the waste, you can use this mapping for reference and see what works for you. Not necessarily work for everyone, but it is a good start point. Check whether it makes sense. Let's now look at the TAC metrics for enterprise. You can pause and take a snapshot of this. This is also available in the MITRE portal. This gives you various verticals, what they stand for. The information is there in the portal which you can pull in. For this conversation, you can pause the screen, run through it, and which are interesting, you can go into the details of the portal. It's a pretty comprehensive piece of work. So in conclusion, MITRE ATT&CK has revolutionized the way cybersecurity professionals understand, detect, and mitigate adversarial behavior. Its structured and continuously updated knowledge base of real world threat behaviors has become a cornerstone in the field of threat informed defenses. From threat intelligence and red teaming to detection engineering and incident response, Attack offers a unified and practical framework that enhances situational awareness and proactive defense. As cyber threat evolve, the attack framework will remain an indispensable resource, especially as it integrates more with automation, cloud ecosystem, and AI. For organizations serious about maturing their cybersecurity posture, adapting and leveraging MITRE ATT&CK is no longer optional. It's a strategic necessity. With this, we conclude this video on MITRE ATT&CK. Hope you have enjoyed this till now. If you think this has brought in some value to you, do share this with people with similar interests so that they can benefit. Do like and subscribe. That will help you to know when a new video is getting uploaded. It also helps me. It's a big motivation. Again, thank you very much for being with me till now. It's a long video. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Namaskar.